Ravens general manager Eric DeCosta is known to have made trades in the past. Marcus Peters, Roquan Smith, and you can even now add in a trade for a wide receiver, which a lot of the Ravens flock has been asking for, as the Baltimore Ravens and Carolina Panthers did a trade today. And it wasn't for Jadeveon Clowney bringing him back to the flock. It was giving the fans what they've been asking for, what they've been clamoring for. A wide receiver for quarterback Lamar Jackson, who is one of the front runners right now for MVP. It's the Flex Zone Podcast. We are talking about the breaking news, the trade that is between the Baltimore Ravens and Carolina Panthers for wide receiver Diontae Johnson. Make sure you guys sack that subscribe button if you're new. Go ahead and give it a Derrick Henry stiff arm. Stick that like button. Leave us a thumbs up. Help us out tremendously, and it costs you nothing in a world where everything is only getting more expensive. And hit that bell. Go ahead and bulldoze that bell. Give it a back shoulder pass. You know, when all of our videos drop, all of our content, Ravens post-game show, Raven previews, and interviews like we just had with the good brother Enzo of the Road Pod last night on episode 463 of the Flex Zone Podcast. Only place giving you sports how you want it, you need it, but enough housekeeping. Let's get straight to business because that's why you're here today. The Baltimore Ravens have made a trade as they've traded for wide receiver Diontae Johnson as he returns back to the AFC North as he was originally drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. So in 2.5 weeks, he will get to see his former team 2 times because the Ravens still play the Steelers twice. So gives them some time to get acclimated into the Todd Monken, Lamar Jackson offense. Gives them some time to get some reps in at practice tomorrow, because usually it is the players' day off on Tuesday, and the Ravens are off today. But Eric DeCosta seems to have been working the phones. There were reports as early as this morning that Diontae Johnson, amongst others, I'm sure, on the Panthers, as they are just god-awful, have officially pretty much are in sell mode. And it looks like other guys could be on the move also. But the Ravens go out and get a wide receiver, not defense, not a pass rusher, not a cornerback, not a safety. As I play my little breaking news sound, a draft sound, they go out and get a wide receiver. I know a lot of the fan base, a lot of people on this panel, this podcast, wanted a D-Hop, wanted maybe to go out and get a Christian Watson, wanted to go out and get a Christian Kirk, maybe a Mike Williams. Diontae Johnson, how do you feel? I really want to talk to you guys, Raven fans, because it's my first look at it. I remember him with the Steelers. He was a player, and I'll pull up the numbers in a second, that got better pretty much his first 3 years. But the last 2 seasons in Pittsburgh, I don't know if that's coupled with the loss of Big Ben Roethlisberger, the offensive coordinator decisions that they had with Todd Haley and others, now Arthur Smith in there, but he's not there anymore. He has some goofy mental lack of effort, hustle plays where he just seems to have quit on the Steelers. And you can see he was as good as gone this offseason because his last 2 years in Pittsburgh, he pretty much was not him. He regressed. And like I said, I'll pull up the numbers. And now he's with Carolina this year. No one expected really anything from Carolina this year. Yes, he would be another weapon for Bryce Young, but Bryce Young doesn't even have a weapon for Bryce Young because he can't get his own self together, let alone use the weapons that they do have down in Carolina. That'll pretty much make Xavier Legette, the fantastic rookie, their number 1 receiver now. But I don't know. I said in a group chat that I'm in, this pretty much means he's going to take Nelson Aguilar's place in the slot, because I could see Bateman on the outside, Flowers probably maybe on the outside with Bateman on the other side, or you could have Johnson on the outside, Flowers in the slot a little more. Not sure really what Todd Monken will draw up. I think that is going to be the key because I think Diontae Johnson isn't a one-trick pony. I think the good about him, he's a versatile player. He's a guy with speed, so he adds another dynamic aspect, another dimension to your team of speed. But he can be used on the jet sweeps. We've seen him done with Zay Flowers and others. He can be used on the wide receiver screens. The Ravens are doing a fantastic job, one of the best screen teams in the NFL. Never thought I'd live to say that as a Ravens fan, as I've mentioned. Getting Diontae Johnson adds that element of speed, especially vertically, because I think he is best straight line speed. He's one of the faster receivers in the league. He is a little smaller than I thought. I thought for some reason he was like maybe 6 feet, 6'1". You know, they always fabricate these heights, but If they say they're 6'1", 6'2", you know they're probably like 6 feet. So I was like, well, he's maybe like 6'1", 6 feet. Okay, maybe 5'11", I'll take that. But he's only 5'10". He's 5'10", so a smaller receiver, not the big body contested catch red zone target that we're used to with or have been clamoring for with the Ravens. We talked about it before with the Odells. I mean, Odell makes really good contested catches, even though he has more speed than most guys who can do that. D-Hop, he doesn't get separation, but he can make those catches. You see it with guys like Keon Coleman in Buffalo. We talked about it last night. For Lamar Jackson to have that third down safety valve that he can go to at the receiver position that he can throw it up to and know is going to catch the football. Hell, even when Flacco was here, he had Steve Smith, Derek Mason. Those guys were reliable on third down. Does Lamar really have that? Andrews, like we said last night, he's great going north and south, but he can't really go horizontally. Likely's more of your yak guy, and they were pretty much on the field 50-50. So you still got Likely and Andrews and Kolar. You can't forget about those three guys. Obviously, we know in this offense they will be used to block just as much as they are used to throw the ball to, but utilizing the screen game and utilizing those quick passes with the offensive line questions that we've had with the Ravens, it is going to be very, very imperative that they do what they need to do offensively, because it's no more excuses. We have been clamoring for an offense of this caliber since the inception of this team, maybe since the early 90s. You have it. You have the quarterback. You have the pieces that you need on offense. You have the offensive coordinator that is calling, I think, the types of plays. You have potentially a guy who's going to run for darn near 2,000 yards, Derrick Henry. You can't forget about him, because this is still, we always ask about the Ravens' identity, a run-first offense. And we don't want to see them get away from that too much, but we've seen them come from behind before on the road this season, twice down by double digits. So they've answered that question. And you saw this week against Cleveland, their wide receivers just didn't win against one-on-one press man coverage. And honestly, when you play these good defenses like Cleveland is, you play the Chiefs, you may have to see them again in the playoffs. You got the Steelers still twice. You got to see the Bengals again. You got to see these Browns again that you lost to. Denver this week, can't forget about them with Patrick Surtain. The Ravens have struggled with guys who don't have the ability to beat press man in pressure situations. Teams are going to stack the box, pressure Lamar Jackson, not allow him to run and escape the pocket if possible, because sometimes he still breaks free and does grade 8 Lamar Jackson, Action Jackson things, which we saw on Sunday, and we just love. He does it better than anybody. But also looking at it that they're going to need guys to be able to win and win one-on-one. I think Diontae Johnson is a solid enough route runner. I think he can get in and out of his breaks to create separation. And I think one of my biggest concerns, though, and I'll get to the numbers, as you can see, started in Pittsburgh, 12 games. He started, 16 overall, 92 targets, 6 drops, has 680 yards as a rookie. And I believe, let me go back so I can get the amount of touchdowns that he had as well. 5 touchdowns, 45-yard long. Next year comes out, gets 923, 7 touchdowns, 47-yard long, 13 drops, which is crazy. And this is credit to Fox Sports, but 13 drops. So his drops went up, his yards and everything went up, but his drops went up. 2021, his best season, his breakout year, only 5 drops, which over a 16, 17 game season, okay, cool. 50-yard long, so he was able to beat you deep. Averaged 72 yards a game, 1,100 yards, as I mentioned. Then 2022, 7 drops, regressed to 882 yards, no touchdowns. Like I mentioned, I know Big Ben left. I know they had some struggles at the quarterback position in Pittsburgh. And then his last year in Pittsburgh, where he was not going after loose balls, was not mentally locked in, pretty much quit and had no effort. He had only 2 drops, but only had 717 yards. So he's regressed since that year in 2021. And this year, 7 games, he's played in every game, 58 targets. So he's actually on pace he was on pace to get probably 90 plus targets. Only 2 drops, 30 receptions, 51% completion, 357 yards, averaging 11.9, so about 12 yards a reception, 3 touchdowns along of 39. Obviously, the Carolina Panthers offense isn't good, but you see the number of drops. He's only had 2 this year, but that is something that can concern me. I think EDC saw what happened on Sunday afternoon in the land and said, hey, look, I know I got A. I know I got B. I don't really have much outside of that. Aguilar comes and goes. I know I got Andrews. I know I got Likely. I got Derrick Henry. But I think that he realized that the deficiencies of his defense are only going to be fixed but so much with the remaining games this season. And I think he is saying, okay, if we can outscore teams, we can add another dimension of speed to our offense. We can give Lamar another weapon. God forbid, also, you always got to account for this. We've heard the news earlier today about Stephon Diggs out for the season. We wish him a speedy recovery, torn ACL. We've seen Nico Collins on the Texans. He's on IR. We've seen Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. They were on IR. They came back, but injuries, attrition. You look at the 49ers. Brandon Ayuk, he's out. And then, unfortunately, Ricky Pearsall, the rookie, he got shot. I mean, it's just something. Debo had fluid in his lungs. So you got to have attrition. You got to have depth. You look at the teams that have depth. You look at, like we said, look what the Eagles did with Jalen Hurts, getting him Devontae Smith, but also going out and trading for A.J. Brown. And, oh, yeah, on top of that, let's go sign Saquon Barkley. You look at what the Bills have done with Josh Allen in the past, getting him Stephon Diggs. Even the Vikings, they got Justin Jefferson, but in the first round, they come back and take Jordan Addison. You got to have a multitude of weapons to win. You look at the Chiefs, they can beat you in a variety of ways. They're the reigning two-time champions. Kelsey, they can run it with Pacheco. Kareem Hunt looks like it's 2020 all over again. 2019, 2020 all over again, where he was doing this thing in the league. You got Noah Gray to back a tight end. You had Rasheed Rice, but you're still making it work with other guys. You got Juju Smith in there. You got now DeAndre Hopkins. So you got to have at least 3 to 4 guys at the receiver position. And I think Todd Monken is going to be able to use a guy like that with speed to help out. And ultimately, the offensive line is going to have to continue to play well, ladies and gentlemen. If they can't protect Lamar, obviously Cleveland brings a different animal to the zoo with their pass rushers and defensive mentality of Jim Swartz. Man, I would love to have him in Baltimore. He's a Baltimore guy, Mount St. Joe. I think it's very, very imperative that we get – I'm intrigued to know – I feel like if EDC called the Panthers, he definitely not only checked on Diontae Johnson, because I won't say he put one over the other, but I'm sure he's made a call about Jadeveon Clowney. He had to inquire about Jadeveon Clowney. Now, the Ravens only given up a 5th and a 6th round draft pick in this trade, so minimal damage. The Ravens have 11 picks next year, so I guess this drops them to 9. The only downside, Diontae Johnson, I thought was signed beyond this season, maybe at least one more year. So he is only signed through this season, so this is pretty much a rental. So you didn't have to really give up a lot, but you do get, is he a top 25 receiver in the league? Maybe. Is he a top 30 receiver in the league? Probably. I don't know. We're rankings, but it's a lot of good rookies and first and second year receivers. And we know guys at the top like Chase and, of course, Jefferson. You got Cooper Kupp back, Puka Nacua, Marvin Harrison Jr. is doing his thing, Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors, George Pickens in our division, T. Higgins can't fit them. So there are a lot of good receivers in the NFL. Zay Flowers is still the number 1 receiver. Let's make that clear. And I think he will only open up opportunities for Zay Flowers because now you can't double Zay. You got to leave him one-on-one. Or if you double Zay, you got Diontae Johnson one-on-one. And I do think Diontae Johnson is better than Nelson Aguilar. I'll give him that. And could this allow maybe Diontae Johnson to contribute? I don't know if he has, so this is just me throwing something out there. Could he contribute possibly with special teams? Could he help give a spark in the return game, in the punt return game? And let's not forget, we got another secret weapon that could be back within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Don't know what he's going to be this season. Obviously, moving forward next year, you're going to have him fully healthy. But Keaton Mitchell, he's also coming back. So you're really essentially making 2 upgrades, 2 trades on the offensive side of the football. You get Diontae Johnson. He's familiar with the division. You know he's going to want to ball out against the Steelers. You know he's going to ball out against the Bengals. You know he's going to ball out against the Browns. He's going to show Mike Tomlin that you shouldn't have got rid of me because now all you got is George Pickens, XYZ. So he wants to get paid, most importantly as well. It's all about the moolah because he wants to get paid at the end of the season. He's only 28 years of age, can get another bite of the apple. And like I say, he's not the biggest guy, but he has that dimension of speed. Has big playability, can beat you vertically, can run solid routes, get in and out of his breaks. Like I said, drops can be a little bit of a problem, but he's a guy that's going to give you, it looks like, between 12 to 15 yards a catch. And I think projected-wise, he was going to be over that 700, 800-yard mark this season for the Panthers. And good on them putting Bryce Young back in. Obviously, what happened to Andy Dalton, we don't wish that on anyone, but it's good to see Bryce Young get an opportunity so they can really assess, is he the guy or not. Now, looking at it from there, if I had to give this trade a grade, I would give it a B. It's not an knock me out of my seat, knock my socks off type of move. And it's not a move where I scoff at, because the more I talk about it to you guys, Ravens flock, I think it becomes evident that this obviously makes your offense better. You still got Derrick Henry, as we mentioned. You got the best run offense in the league, the best running dual threat quarterback ever. You got receivers. Obviously, they struggled with drops this week, but let's not beat up on the receivers too much, because just last week, a week ago in Tampa, we were literally kissing their ass. We were telling them how good they were. We would tell them, oh, they're running great routes. Oh, they're getting good yards after the catch. Oh, they're doing well in the red zone. Oh, they are just doing a masterful job. We haven't seen a drop. I said it in my preview. I said we haven't seen many drops all season. We were literally telling them how great they were.
Finger licking good, special. That's what I'm talking about.
We were kissing them. We were giving them the Michael Irvin. We were smooching out to them because they were doing great. They really were one of the best position groups this season. And there are going to be games like that through the season where just things don't go right offensively. And I think even Todd Monken has to realize, stop getting cute. Do a bunch of to the dance. And I think looking at the opportunity here, you get Diontae Johnson. Like I said, he's playing for a contract. He's motivated, going to play his former team twice, wants to let other teams know he's going to be good in the locker room. So I think he's going to be a quiet boy. He's going to be buttoned up and straight, button up straight and fly right, because he's going to be wanting to get another opportunity. Could it be with the Ravens? I'm not sure, because after the season, you really just got what? Zay, Bate, and I guess Tez Walker, maybe. So this could be an opportunity for the Ravens to extend him, maybe even at a team-friendly deal. Maybe they can maneuver some money. I'm sure they can make it work. It's all about choices. They can always make a move work if they need to. But I'd give it a B. I'm still intrigued to hear what else he's going to do. Like I said, they have 11 picks. They don't need 11 rookies coming in here. They're not even going to all make the team. We're going to have cuts or trades or whatever. But what else does he do? The trade deadline is a week from today. Does he go out and still try to get Clowney? Does Clowney maybe not want to come back to Baltimore? I'm sure Clowney has some say in what he wants to do. He maybe does not want to leave home. That's one of the big reasons why he went back to Carolina, closer to home. But obviously, he got paid. And when you put it like that, maybe they called about Clowney, and maybe they say, okay, well, Clowney isn't available, but we got Diontae Johnson available. Clowney also is a free agent after the season. Now, do the Ravens go out? I don't think they're going to get Buda Baker. Buda Baker, I think, is off the table. The Cardinals are arguably right now one of the best teams in the NFC West. They're tied for first. Corner-wise, they're not going to go get Jair Alexander. I think it was Cisco, the Jaguars safety. No. Pass rush, Hassan Reddick just re-signed with the Jets. Could they trade him? I don't know. Garrett, no. I think he's there to stay. Crosby, no. I think they said he's not going anywhere, and I think you would have to give up a lot more than we're willing to give and pay him. So I don't see that happening, which the Ravens, that's another thing. They can't really afford to take in a lot of money. So these one-year deals, these rentals are going to be about their speed. Like I said, this is a low-cost, low-risk, high-reward move. He comes in. He catches, what do we have? We're going into week 9. He still has 8 games or so to play, 9 games. Hey, let's just say he equals what he's done. He's got basically 350 yards. Can he go over 350 yards and maybe give us 2 to 3 touchdowns in this offense? I think so, because you can't double anybody. And he's going to have some opportunities to make some big plays. Lamar's just going to have to get the ball to him. And I think that was a key last week. Lamar, yes, there was a lot of drops. Yes, there are no excuses for that. Lamar deserves better. But let's not mention he missed Isaiah Likely wide open. He missed Zay Flowers wide open. He has missed some throws as well. Now, like I said, a week before we were kissing their ass of how great Lamar with deep ball was to Bateman and how great the receivers were catching the football. But Lamar's going to have to make the throws. And like I always say, make the layups. Offensive line continue to get better. I always say it each and every week, and my keys get 1% better. Stanley didn't have his best game. A couple of questionable holding calls here and there. Like I said, Cleveland's one of the best defenses you'll face all season. Then you got Denver this week, so it gets no easier. Now, I do think Diontae Johnson will play this week, but do the Ravens go out and maybe try to get the Honey Badger? Do the Ravens go out and try to get Clowney still? I think those are maybe names that you could look at potentially, but if this is all the Ravens do at the deadline, hey, I looked at it like this. Eddie Jackson, yeah, he dropped 2 or 3 picks, but he did have tackles. Like Marcus Williams, he was on your TV screens, okay? Now, could Marcus Williams possibly be traded? That could happen. I could see that. Now, would a team take him? I don't know. Are you going to get more than maybe like you got gave up for Diontae, a fifth max probably. And he's a free agent anyway, probably. Or you can cut him. So I guess maybe they do. I don't know. A team may take him. I'm not sure who. One of the former defensive coordinators, maybe Anthony Weaver, or maybe Jannard Wilson might take him in Tennessee, or Tennessee's not going to be trading for anybody, so they're selling. They're going to be in the top 3 or 4 of the draft. But maybe the Dolphins. I don't know if they want to make a move defensively. Not sure, but nevertheless, we'll see. Maybe the Honey Badger is the name that I've really thought about over the last 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe if they want to go get a safety. I think pass rush is paramount, though. I still like to see them work out a deal for Clowney. I think the Panthers may be asking for a little bit more for Clowney because he's more of an impact player. They know what he would do for a team, not just the Ravens at the pass rush position. So they may be starting talks with, hey, we want a conditional 3 that could turn into maybe a 2 if you meet certain expectations or certain incentives like he did last year. Or maybe they start off with the 4 and it could turn into a 3. But if it's a 3 for Clowney, you bring him back, I'm making that move. Because whoever you draft in the 3rd round, we talked about it, Eric DeCosta's 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round picks, 3 through 7, the guys who make up the bulk of NFL rosters, haven't always been the best. Yeah, he's hit on a few 3rd and 4th rounders here and there. Madubuike, Travis Jones, got Brandon Stevens in the 4th round. You got some guys, but they're also probably more misses that notably come to mind, or guys that they passed on for other guys who haven't quite lived up to what we expected from them. The Adafe always. Let's not get me started on that. David Ajabo, who I actually like coming out. Let's not get me started on some of the misses or whiffs he's had as well. So Diontae Johnson is an upgrade for your team. This makes your offense that much more unpredictable, that much more hard to stop, that much more dynamic, faster even. And if a guy like Bateman is not engaged or continues to not play up to what we've seen from Bateman, because you'll get good bait in Tampa, then you'll get same old bait in Cleveland. You got Diontae Johnson, who I think can step in. And if you ask me right now, I guess Diontae Johnson is wide receiver number 2, but they could use him in a slot. They could move Zay to the slot and use Johnson and use Bateman and Johnson on the outside, and then have Zay in the slot. You got Andrews and likely still as well. And maybe let's use some different formations, Tom Michael. Let's throw in some bunch formations with Bateman, Flowers, Johnson, all in the back, on one side, like we see with the Rams and the Vikings and teams like that, where you do the bunch system and you have the legal pick plays and you create separation, you scheme it up, and you maybe have more opportunities to throw the ball for Henry as well. But what say you? I give the trade a B. I hopefully think, and I'm praying that Eric DeCosta isn't done. He shouldn't be done. You have 11 picks. You've seen teams like the Chiefs. You've seen that it's going to be an active time over the next week as we head into the trade deadline and presidential election on the same damn day. But God's favorite host with the most, right here on the Flex Zone Podcast, Ravens Flock. If you're new or just found us the first time, or you're here from our interview yesterday or found us somewhere, we appreciate you. We welcome you to the Flex Zone family. Please still find that subscribe button, like Derrick Henry. Hit stick that like button, like Kyle Hamilton or Roquan Smith. I didn't like Roquan and Kyle not talking to the media either. I thought that was, you got to be leaders in good times and in bad times. But those guys, we got to depend on them. I don't know what they do for the defense. Like I said, I think pass rush is paramount, because if you can get pressure on the quarterback, it helps out your secondary, helps out your corners, helps out your defensive backs, your safeties. You can get pressure. Now, could that guy be Clowney? Yes. And if they're asking for a 3rd round pick, Eric DeCosta, you go give it to him. Shoot, we'll drive down to Carolina and go get Clowney for you and pack his thing and bring him back to Baltimore so he can be with this team and really boost a sense of just that aura and leadership and just positivity to the locker room of, okay, we got another guy here who can help right the ship defensively, and really on 3rd down, especially in situations where get pressure on the quarterback. But sound off down below. I want to hear from you. Comment. What do you think of the Diontae Johnson move? What do you think about the wide receiver team, the offense now? Did you want someone else at wide receiver? We heard Christian Watson, Mike Williams, Christian Kirk. Is it something else that you wanted the Ravens to do? Or is there something they still need to do? Obviously, you made one on offense. I think they at least need to make one move on defense. I said multiple moves. You got 11 picks. If you trade 4 picks, you still got 7. And I think 7 is enough for EDC to play with, especially if you still got your 1st and 2nd rounders, and you're going to get some compense probably too. So make sure you leave your favorite emoji if you got nothing to say. Let me know your thoughts on the Diontae Johnson trade, who you would like to see them go after next. I mentioned the Honey Badger potentially, if they want to go down the safety route, or a guy like Clowney. I'd say Clowney, then Honey Badger, Matthews, 1-2. But I want to hear from you. If you don't have nothing to say, good, bad, or ugly, leave your favorite emoji and let me know how you're feeling, Ravens Flock. Flex on Podcast, only place giving you Ravens coverage how you want it when you need it. Eric DeCosta, he's making moves. He's doing something. He's not just sitting on his hands and waiting for something to fall in his lap. He went out, made a move, didn't give up a lot, and can possibly get another piece that can help this offense mask the sins of the defense, be the deodorant, and get rid of the stench and stink of a lackluster Ravens defense. Because they're not going to fire Zach Orr. They're not going to get rid of Dean Pease. They just brought him in. So we'll see what happens. Comment, hit the like button, hit the bell. I'm out of here. We'll be back with more content on the channel here on the Flex Zone Podcast. Thank you guys for watching.